Shabbat shalom, y'all. All right, peaceful Sabbath, y'all. Y'all know how to do it. We got y'all family here today from out of town. Introduce yourself right back here. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourself. Y'all know I'm bad with names. Sister Althea, I know for sure. Go ahead, Sister Thea, y'all. Yeah. Go ahead, sis. Becky, go ahead, bro. Keith. Yeah, go ahead, bro. Who else here? Y'all, so we want to say Shabbat shalom to our family. Come down and celebrate Pentecost with us. Y'all know how we do it. We do everything according as it is written. We pray according as it is written when we are in the assembly. We want you to understand we are talking about assembly practice. So we turn toward Jerusalem. We're not turning toward the Wailing Wall or any cobblestone. We are turning toward Jerusalem as instructed in 1 Kings 8th chapter, Daniel chapter 6 verse 10. And 1 Tim chapter 2, verse 1 through 8 tells us how to pray. 1 Corinthians 11, men are to uncover your head when in the assembly, and women are to cover your head when in the assembly, when praying or prophesying. So we want to do all things decently and in order. The script tells us to hold our hands high in 1 Tim chapter 2, verse 1 through 8. Hold your hands up high, like a child holds his hands up for a parent to lift him up. That's what we need, y'all, in this day and hour. We need some uplifting. So with that, get that prayer on, y'all.
I'll get the opening prayer with the Most High's permission in the name of his only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, locally known as Jesus the Christ.
Yes, sir.
Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, the 75th chapter, and it reads, Unto thee, O Yah, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks. For that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. When I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it. Selah.
Selah.
I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly. And to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But Yah is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another.
Yes, sir.
For in the hand of the Most High there is a cup, and the wine is red. It is full of mixture, and he poureth out of the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever. That's right. I will sing praises to the Elohim of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked also will I cut off. That's right. But the horns of the righteous, shall be exalted. Hallelujah! Selah! Yes, God.
All right, y'all know how we get down. This is Bible study.
Yes, sir.
so you can ask any question, and if we're able to answer, we will do so. If we're not, we'll study the matter and get an answer to you. So y'all, this Bible study, y'all know how we do it before we get down. Today's topic is Pentecost 2018. Y'all, we got a lot of work to put in tomorrow, and it's going to be a hot day. So we're going to teach on this class so that you have the information about why we're feasting tomorrow. You know, so when we get out there, we'll hit it briefly just to touch on it, but all information will be provided today. It's live streaming. Shalom to the worldwide family. Shalom, shalom, y'all. So we want to make sure that we get this understanding today so that we're prepped before. Y'all, if we're at that feast day and we're asking about it, y'all, it's a problem because all of these feast days are appointments to see our Father, the chief surgeon and doctor. So this is what you go like you going to get a checkup. It's checkup time now, y'all, for Pentecost. There's special medicine going to be given out on this day. It's called the Holy Spirit.
That's right.
So, y'all, we want to understand why we're doing that before we get out there and trying to struggle and figure out why we out here, or it's just going to be a barbecue. Y'all, we can go to Golden Corral for that.
Right.
So, y'all, we're going to get a little bit of understanding. But anybody got any questions or concerns, anything on your heart, mind, or soul, you know, concerning teachings, something may have, you heard somebody say something like that, y'all, something we can get on, we get right back into our lesson. Anybody? If not, y'all, we're going to get right into the lesson. We're going to get into some Leviticus 23rd chapter. Yes, sir.
Can we give at least 2 or 3 scriptures pertaining to disrespecting the elders?
Well, we'll get into that a little bit later, bro. We got a little bit we got to cover today, but we'll get back at that.
All right. Calm down.
Y'all see her? Hold on, yeah, I'll go ahead. Hold on, y'all. Oh, y'all looking for my other set of eyes. Here they are.
Uh-oh.
No, it ain't.
Uh-oh.
He need his eyes to find his
Yeah, I
eyes.
need that French stuff to
Draw.
right. Yes, sir. We're going to Leviticus 23rd chapter. And y'all, we're briefly going to touch on these things. There's a class done out there. Malachi did a sit-down class out there. So it's under the order of Melchizedek. Y'all know what it is. A very good sit-down lesson on how to count up to this day. So y'all, we want y'all to take a look at it, and you'll understand this count part that has or separates everyone who believes the moon controls the Sabbath, the 7th day Sabbath. So very good lesson in how we have to count, because we need to be as close to these holy days as possible. And let us understand, y'all, we ain't going to be perfect at it. We'll be close. So if you hear anything out there, you're doing it on the wrong day. We got people in Jerusalem, so we got to count 8 hours. And then it's our turn. But every feast day, y'all, will be inside of a 24-hour cycle in the entire world. Starts in Jerusalem. We 8 hours later. Before it gets back to Jerusalem to start a new day, that sun would have crossed every 4 corners of this planet, so that everybody on the same day can do it. It may be hours later, but we can't do the Feast of Tabernacles at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who up? If we're doing it from Jerusalem time.
Nehemiah.
Right. But so y'all, we're going to pick it up in Leviticus 23rd chapter. We're going to start about, no, we got to pick it up right where we are, 15. Leviticus 23 and 15. We're going to read a few things and we're going to get right into the heart of this feast day tomorrow and what it represents. Yo, because this feast day is correcting things. Anybody down here don't understand what we practice? We practice under the priesthood of the order of Melchizedek, given to the Messiah by his Father to be a priest everlasting through all generations, never to be turned over to anyone else. Now, what are we? Junior priests. That's as far as we go. He's the high priest mentioned in Psalm 110, Hebrews 7 chapter. So we have it both Old and New Testament. We are not followers of Aaron's priesthood order. No disrespect to Aaron. But Aaron's priesthood has decreased, just like John the Baptist said, the Messiah shall increase and I shall decrease. Y'all, we on the increase side. We got to increase. You got to store up in your heavenly treasure. We got to get stored up, y'all. Y'all want money there to spend, don't you? So, y'all, we gotta get busy with this so we understand, and we're gonna get right into a couple deals with why we do this on a certain count of the moon. Go ahead, read that, bro.
You say don't let your bank account and kingdom look like the one here.
Oh, that's gonna be rough, boy. So I know I got to work hard there.
That's right. All right, y'all.
So it's hard to get $19 out of the ATM. Right. Pentecost 2018. Go ahead, bro.
All right, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye bought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. And ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord.
So we understand this thing from the order of Aaron, but move into it to the order of Melchizedek. The Messiah is filling every one of these roles.
These ingredients.
Presenting himself before as the first fruit when Mary and them couldn't touch him. Don't touch me yet. I have to be presented a first fruit, holy and unblemished. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 18. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire, of sweet savor unto the Lord. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offering.
And we know when it's saying burnt offerings, y'all, in this day and time, like I say, all these things are attributed, but it was already written in Judges 11 and Abraham sacrificing burnt offerings, or it's not, when it comes on people, it's like sacrificing them for the cause. People give up their children to work this work for the temple. Mary's parents gave her up to the temple. The Messiah was given up by his parents to the temple. He was 12 years old, breaking folks off until it was time for his ministry. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 20. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that it may be in holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So, and you see the key word here is servile. So servile mean is on this day, if you can, y'all, we ain't at home. It's the best to understand that if you can get off of what pay your bills, that's servile work. Y'all, the Sabbath is tied to servile work. If you do 7 days of the same thing, you won't have no time to have a break from that. That's why he's saying servile work. Every feast day, when wine is drinking and good eating and fellowship, when you go home and you lay down, y'all, it's rough to try to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work after that. And be good on your job, but that you may be a little bit distracted or tired. Yawn, nod out on it. That's why it says all of these times, treat it as a Sabbath. Hope to not have to have servile work, but we understand that. You ain't got vacation days. It don't mean you can't do Pentecost where you at.
Right.
But you can't be caught like this at the job, and they tap you on the shoulder. And Lord, I just want to thank you. Oh, you interrupted my prayer? They're like, okay. You got away with that one. Don't let us catch you like that again. But y'all want to get right into Sirach 43 so we understand, because you heard the back talk of, y'all doing it on the wrong day. It's not from this calendar. Been through all of that. We just want to hit Sirach chapter 43. If anybody read that, y'all brought everything to camera and then bring the HDMI card to put it up on the board. I don't know who got a computer, may have extra in your bag. I can get it loaded up. I was working on the other one, well, getting ready to work on the other one. And that sometimes kicked in. And I forgot the card. So we got brother taking down all the scripts, and we'll put them up for all of our worldwide audience. Uriah's writing down every script. So we'll get it that way, y'all. But y'all make sure y'all got your notes. This is class, right? You're supposed to bring your notepad to class, right?
Anybody ain't got a notebook or a pen? Go stand over in the corner.
Yeah, right. Okay, y'all, we're starting in Ecclesiastic or Sirach in the Apocrypha, verse 1 through 12.
43. Sirach what?
Chapter 43. Y'all, and this is just so we get a handle on every ordinance play a part for the count that we were speaking of. That count that leads us to the 50th day, 7 complete Sabbaths after the Passover, because we were right into a Sabbath. That Passover weekend, that one couldn't be counted, or we would have had to do tabernacles last week if you did it from that count. But we saw the count, got it down, and it's going 7 Sabbaths complete will be today. And then one day starts Pentecost. Right. 7 complete Sabbaths, 49 days plus 1 is 50. Okay, so Sirach chapter 43, verse 1.
Everybody there? The pride of the height, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, with his glorious shoe. The sun when it appeareth declared that his rising is a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. So the sun is a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. It has things, same thing you read in Genesis first chapter, where he said he made all of them on the 4th day. 2 great lights, one to rule the day, or the 12 hours of the day, and one to rule the 12 hours of the night. The one at night gets its energy and light from the one that controls the day. It gets filled up by that first or greater light. The Messiah is the greater light, because his Father gave it to him to be the greater light. If he ain't involved in the way he needs to be, unblemished, you're wasting your time with this doctrine. Let's get it. Where we at? Verse 3. At noon it parches the country, and who can abide the burning heat thereof?
Right.
A man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors, and sending forth bright beams, it dimmeth the eyes.
Right.
Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment it runneth hastily. He made the moon also to serve in her seasons for a declaration of time and a sign of the world.
Right.
From the moon is a sign of feast.
So that's telling you about this luminary commandment keeping ordinance. It controls the feast only. Has nothing to do with other things, but we ain't gonna get into that. We're telling you the moon has let us know there's a feast day starting sundown, which is technically the 50th day. Let's read some more.
I'm gonna read 7 again. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. The month is called after her name.
The what is called after her
month,
name? Right.
Is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches.
And never do what?
Never faint in their watches.
Y'all, so the moon, we ain't got to worry about trying to figure out the moon and the sun. They don't break ranks. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They will never break ranks so we can say or have any excuse about missing our doctor appointment. These are appointed feasts. We have to be clear that everybody understand this. You have to know these. You can't quit Christmas and Easter and Halloween and not do these and not know them. You knew them appointments. You're a professional at it. But these feasts, y'all, we have to keep up with our doctor's appointment so we get our checkups accordingly. Go ahead, bro.
When you all watch the news throughout the year in the 4 seasons, they say today it's going to rain, or the sun's going to shine, it's going to be this temperature, or it's going to be partly cloudy, or it's going to rain in the first part of the day, or we're going to get snow or hail, tornadoes, whatever. You never heard them get on there and say, well, the sun didn't come up today. You know, there ain't no moon out tonight. You know, these things that what we just read, it says these are appointed times.
Yeah.
They put them in motion like a clock.
That's right.
They just keep going and just keep going and just keep going. They set them up for these times to be able to tell. And you see that the moon itself is where we get the timing from.
Yeah.
You know, you get your timing from the moon in that cycle that we read about.
Go ahead, bro.
All right. Verse 11. Look upon the rainbow and praise him that made it. Very beautifully it is in the brightness thereof.
Right.
It compasses the heaven about with a glorious circle, and the hands of the Most High have been it.
So we can hold that, and we see that the rainbow that speaks about it as well. What it is talking about, the heavenly luminaries and covenants made. He made a covenant with rain about this in Genesis 9th chapter, this rainbow. But we have an opposite side called pride that take this symbol and then have you scared to even be close to it. That's a copycat. It's not the original. You should be never scared of a copycat. Lucifer is a copycat. What you scared of? The original. They don't run nothing. If they get you scared of the law, they'll get you scared of the laws of the Most High. And you'll quit them. Let's get it, Genesis, and what leading up to about this day of Pentecost, y'all. When they got off the ark, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, all of them was given the commandments of the Most High after the order of Melchizedek, which was given to Adam in the Garden of Eden. He was a Melchizedek priest. And this priesthood ran all the way through to us coming out of Egypt and stopped at Mount Sinai. We switched over to Aaron to get re-educated on who we were as a people coming out of Egypt, along with the strangers who were with us. We had to get re-educated on culture. Once that happened, we had to break ranks again and switch back to the order at the beginning so we can get back to everlasting life like it was supposed to be in the garden. Well, with that process with Ham, Shem, and Japheth getting off the boat, they were given the commandments by Noah to operate under that priesthood. The whole world was supposed to operate under that priesthood. Shem given the blessing, the covenant blessing to pass on down the line was given to Shem. Passed on to Abraham, so forth and so on, because you get into a little Jasher 16, you'll see that Shem was Melchizedek who met Abraham and broke bread and wine with him. He stayed in their house. Jasher chapter 9, Jasher chapter 8, Abraham was in their house for 33 years studying under that priesthood. So y'all, that's the priesthood we rock, we move, and we vibrate through that, because that was a covenant given in Genesis 12 as well as Genesis 15, which gave up the blood covenant to male or female. So y'all, we just want to hit a little bit of the, who got a question? Go ahead, sis.
Jasher, what chapter?
For particular,
You said Genesis.
No,
8 and 9 about Abraham.
Yeah.
8 and 9 chapter of the book of Jasher. You see, he was in there 33 years, learning, studying in the house of Shem and Noah. From the other side, from the other world, y'all. Getting his teaching. What teachings do you think he was teaching him? What priesthood? The same one given to Adam. So we have to remember, we are studying and practicing what was supposed to be going on at the beginning. And that's born and children born in righteousness. We got to circle back to that, y'all. There'll be one order set up and everybody will follow that order, whether you like it or not. Because they run it. The Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, they run it. And if we want to be part of Elohim, Godhead, and join in the ranks with them and the angels, then we got to do what we need to be doing. And that's keeping these commandments after that order, that priesthood. Genesis chapter 11. Y'all, and see, we want to understand this, what happened. This is what caused us to have Pentecost. Because Ham, Shem, and Japheth was following the commandments. Just like Ishmael was following the commandments he would talk about Abraham. Wasn't no Quran around. Abraham didn't teach Ishmael the Quran. Didn't he teach Ishmael? Esau the Quran or whatever books he got, the Kabbalah or whatever they may be. Talmud, he didn't teach that to them. Because it says in here, it broke their heart when they turned their back on the commandments. Genesis chapter 11 and 1.
Reading in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, starting at verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
Y'all see that? The whole earth of one language and one speech. Y'all see, this is what we're trying to get back to. In the book of Zephaniah, we're trying to get back to one language and one speech where everybody communicate with the same language. Right now, it's the current languages dominating the world is the ones who were told will rule the world before the Messiah come back. The English language. I don't care who else you're saying or powerhouses. All of them speak this language, English. If you talk Hebrew, you still got to explain it in English. What that mean, what you just said? Oh, that means such. Yeah, and this in Hebrew. What that mean, what you just said? So if you ain't teaching it with explanation, we're spinning our wheels again. I might as well listen to somebody talking in tongues about this feast day. Do y'all know the Pentecostals know the feast day is coming up? Do they know it's tomorrow? Why? Because they call themselves a feast day. If you're a Pentecostal, you name yourself after a feast day. This is a feast day. This ain't no religion. Hi, I'm a feast day. I'm Pentecostal. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 2. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them through. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven.
May reach to what?
Unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
So whatever they're saying, the cause of us to break the law of the Most High is a problem. That's an agreement that you'll come into. Let us build it up there or we're going to be scattered. So you're going to force your way into heaven. Like Lucifer. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 5. And the Most High came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Most High said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do.
Which they have imagined to do. Look, these thoughts are not their own. They're getting these images from somewhere that's in their head. And it's coming from Lucifer. He had the same image in his mind. The Most High never gave us a commandment that said we're going to come up there with him without permission. What that's written at? Go ahead, brother.
Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Most High scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth.
All the work?
All the earth.
See, so they got exactly what they were fearing. Y'all brought that on yourself. You still scattered abroad. Y'all see that? And now you can't communicate. Y'all see this? See, their calculation worked right against them in their mindset. Like I say, it's like pawning the only TV to pay the cable bill. You still ain't watching TV. Cable on. Connected to what? Go ahead, bro.
And they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel.
Or Babylonian, or that's what it started to sound like. You're trying to communicate with somebody and there's two different languages. What you saying? I can't understand what you say. Do it with your fingers. What? Point to it. Point to it. So that's Babylon, and that's where Babel came from, and it's confusion.
It sounds like Charlie Brown's parents.
Oh, boy. Wah. Babel. So y'all, ever since that time, the focus is to get us back to one language so we can serve our Father, which dwelleth on high, with one consent. Everybody has to be in agreement, the whole world. That's why these assemblies, can two walk together unless they agree? No. So we have to agree, the whole world. The world will have to agree that we are the Israelites. They have to agree with that without being forced to believe it. If the evidence is there, I'm not going to fight with you not to believe it. So y'all, ever since then, we've been fighting to get back to one language. And all of the chief princes of the earth, pharaohs, and everybody that's running kingdoms now, y'all, are trying to get it back to one language where everybody, we can command everybody with one language to build, to get to heaven. This is the mission that's moving right through the earth now to try to get everybody. It's going to be called one world order. Ain't no need us. It's going to be one language. It's going to be one currency. It's going to be one everything. But all of them be doing, like even Pharaoh wanted somebody who knew all. There were 70 languages here that got scattered. And if any man knew all 70 languages, which we're talking about the day of Pentecost, languages were given out that scattered all the people and separated everybody. Languages were given out. So y'all, we want to make sure that we understand these things. What people are chasing after, there's still a lot of Satanists out there trying to get the one language, everybody together to build back that tower to heaven. So y'all, we want to be careful and not mixing this new world order and talking about what language is dominant over another language. Unless you got the pure language, you are going to set up a kingdom for Satan. About impure language. There ain't no pure Hebrew out here. The best we getting is 14 karat gold, 23 karat gold of Hebrew, but it's tainted. Ain't no gold out here. Ain't no language out here of Hebrew like what's going to be spread out when them streets of gold hit. The language going to have to match the kingdom. Impurity can't match the kingdom. It has to be pure. Everything has to be free of leavening and free of stain and spot. The best we got on gold, we got some gold in here, 14, 23, and you bragging about it, 18 karat. There's a percentage missing that makes it 100% gold. Where we at? Was we finished that?
At verse 9.
Verse
9 from the top. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Most High did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Most High scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So we see what happened. Everybody moved all over the earth. But we see Zechariah 14 is to move everybody back to Jerusalem as the capital of where the language will be given out. Y'all, we trying to make a full circle back to that. And everything, like even Pharaoh, he sat on 70 steps of his throne. Every man that knew a language moved up to a step and spoke to him from that step of how many languages they learned. So Joseph, a situation, y'all, we're finna read right now in the book of Jasher. I hate we don't have it up on the board, but all y'all pull up Jasher chapter 49 if you're able to. And we study out of the book of Jasher, mentioned in 2 Samuel 1:18 and Joshua 10:13, instructs us to study out of the book of Jasher. 1 Timothy 3:18 as well. Tells us to study out of this book to get intricate details of what we need to do to stay on par with learning, of studying to show thyself approved. You got it?
It said 49 or what?
14.
The book of Jasher, chapter 49, verse 14.
Come on, where everybody get that? Whoever have the book of Jasher, if not, we're going to read it. I hate y'all that I left that HDMI card. Yeah. Well, yeah, y'all got all them smartphones. Yeah, let's use them for something.
What was that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, I meant to lose them, but not now. We need them right now.
Book of Jasher, chapter 49, verse 14.
Everybody on your smartphone, if you're able to.
Up at 13.
You can back it up to 13.
All right. Book of Jasher, chapter 49, verse 13. And on that night, the Elohim sent one of his ministering angels, and he came into the land of Egypt unto Joseph. And the angel of the Lord stood over Joseph. And behold,
I tell you what, let's back this up. Yeah. Let's back it up to verse 1, y'all. I don't want to miss nothing here. And the discussion is, Pharaoh is asking, who know the language? What can we do? And y'all, Most High has always put his servants in the kingdom so we can always be a light unto the Gentile nation. You have to, he's never left us without. There's always somebody that he's going to put his pure power on that's going to do a sign and a wonder and a miracle that's going to amaze everybody. It's like in the movie, The Book of Eli. All he was saying, if I get the book, if I just get the book, I can control the people. But see, he was doing it from a malicious perspective. He wanted slaves that's going to die. And which he himself eventually going to die. So it's a waste of time. You're going to start at verse 1.
The book of Jasher, chapter 49, verse 1.
What it say?
After these things, the king sent and assembled all his officers and servants, and all the princes and nobles belonging to the king. And they all came before the king. And the king said unto them, Behold, you have seen and heard all the words of this Hebrew man, and all the signs which he declared would come to pass, and not any of his words have fallen to the ground. You know that he is given a proper interpretation of the dream, and it will surely come to pass. Now therefore take counsel, and know what you will do, and how the land will be delivered from the famine. Seek now and see whether the light can be found, in whose heart there is wisdom and knowledge, and I will appoint him over the land. For you have heard what the Hebrew man has advised concerning this, to save the land therewith from the famine. And I know that the land will not be delivered from the famine, but with the advice of the Hebrew man, him that advised me.
So their understanding, just like Zechariah 14, if we don't get the understanding from this man, we ain't gonna get no rain. Famine is coming. Famine comes from no rain. A famine of the word is no rain, because the spirit, which is water, which is life, if it don't rain down on us, y'all, we ain't gonna have no life. We're gonna famine out. We will dry up and wither away. So this day is the pouring out of that spiritual water. And just like it did back then, miracles, signs, and wonders. There's miracles, signs, and wonders that should take place. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And they all answered the king and said, The counsel which the Hebrew has given concerning this is good. Now therefore, our land and king, behold.
Now therefore.
I'm going to start at 6 again at the top.
Okay.
And they all answered the king and said, The counsel which the Hebrew has given concerning this is good. Now therefore, our land and king, our Lord, and I got readers on.
Right, I got readers on. You're going to have to hit that draw again. It's another pair in there.
Our Lord and King, behold, the whole land is in thy hand. Do that which seemeth good in thy sight. Him whom thou choosest, and whom thou in thy wisdom knowest to be wise and capable of delivering the land with his wisdom. Him shall the king appoint to be under him.
To be what?
To be under him over the land.
So look, because the Most High set these nations up, and he has to be the one to bring them down. He's not going to allow Pharaoh to have Joseph run all of Egypt, or the plan is right here now in Egypt. No, we have to go through a process. It was already ordained, Genesis 3:16. We had to make it back, and these are the punishments we had to walk through. So Pharaoh knew from the spirit of the Most High that Joseph could never be elevated up to his buddy. Governor as high as we ever been in any kingdom, but these governors was running the show. But the king saying, whatever you do, how am I gonna fight against miracle in this position? I'll be off this throne in a second anyway.
Verse 8, and the king said to all the officers, I have thought that since Yahweh has made known to the Hebrew man all that he has spoken, there is none so discreet and wise in the whole land as he is. If it seem good in your sight, I will place him over the land, for he will save the land with his wisdom.
See, when hunger come in, and somebody talking about how we're going to eat, I don't care how many bombs you build. Hunger is a whole different subject, y'all. I ain't going to sit up here and say, I know what I'm going to do in tribulation. I ain't been hungry past a surf sandwich. And the only reason I ate that because I didn't want to thaw out no chicken. That's 2 more hours. And watching and looking at it. Y'all, but when hunger comes, when famine, when the grocery stores tell y'all, we ain't got nothing to put on the shelves. A pack of crackers will be worth a king's ransom. Well, we look like everybody taking a bite off of a cracker. That's it, y'all. 1 bite a piece. And a sip of water. Just keep moving. We head into the kingdom, the Most High provide.
That's right. And he will.
Right, but we have to sustain ourselves that as a body, we understand that. You know, the power, we have to be of one mind so that when we look, you're like, that's manna bread right there. But we can't do it with no doubt and different things. I want to turn back and say, let's go back to America when it's come, or let's go back to this land over here when the great gathering happened. In the wilderness. Y'all, we're in the wilderness of the world right now. It's heating up.
Literally.
Hawaii on fire. Embassy wars in Jerusalem, in the homeland. Can you go there? Y'all, that's going to be the most explosive piece of real estate on planet Earth here. When that embassy go up, because you know they move in the dome of the rock. Palestinians going to fight back with America's embassy there. They will be wiped off the map. Y'all, it's going to get explosive around these parts. Yeah, we got to get our minds right for what's about to happen, because one day we could wake up and turn on the news like y'all seeing these school shootings. Y'all like another one. Wait till you hear Hawaii is under the water. I'm not predicting that, y'all. I'm just saying. When you see something so cataclysmic that you gonna say the phone's gonna be hot. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 9. And all the officers answered the king and said, but surely it is written in the laws of Egypt, and it should not be violated, that no man shall reign over Egypt. You
see what they saying? They say, we got laws. Can't no man reign over Egypt. These are his advisors. When he said, I'm gonna bump the Hebrew man up, he gonna get promoted. Go ahead.
Nor be the second to the king.
Nor be the what?
The second to the king. But one who has knowledge in all the languages of the sons of men.
See, that was the test. You got knowledge of all the language of the sons of the men from Genesis 11. Who got that? Who can speak 70 languages fluently around here? Embalming's just one of them, but it's so broke up, we have to ask instruction. Man, what them youngsters saying? Run them pockets, what that mean? We got a gun on them.
That's the wrong time to not know.
Right. Run them pockets. What?
Pardon me.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that language.
Right.
Pockets,
right.
You go know.
You know what they mean when they be flapping down. And you can see your thighs. You know what they mean. Go ahead.
Verse 10. Now therefore, our Lord and King, behold, this Hebrew man can only speak the Hebrew language.
What he can do?
Only speak the Hebrew language.
Joseph needs 69 more to what he know fluently. Go ahead.
And how then can he be over us, the second under government a man who not even knoweth our language.
You see that? He like, wait a minute, you done did some promotion, you done broke ranks. What our laws say? He don't know nothing but Hebrew, that's all we heard. Go ahead.
Now we pray thee, send for him, and let him come before thee, and prove him in all things, and do as thou see fit. And the king said, it shall be done tomorrow. And the thing that you have spoken is good. And all the officers came on that day before the king. And on the night of the Lord sent, and on that night the Lord sent one of his ministering angels, and he came into the land of Egypt unto Joseph. And the angel of the Lord stood over Joseph. And behold, Joseph was lying in the bed at night in his master's house in the dungeon.
In the what?
In the dungeon. For his master had put him back into the dungeon on account of his wife.
See, Joseph was locked up on a free case. Pharaoh's wife locked him up on a free case, said he tried to rape her. Yeah. If y'all read what she was doing, y'all, if you cop out and say a woman made me do it, and she put a sword to Joseph's neck. You don't give it to me, had sweet smelling perfume. They say you can smell 3 counties over. He still said, no, woman. And she grabbed him. He had to tear out of his clothes and run. And she had his shirt. Here it is. This who tried to come in here and take me. This is his clothes. Them look like Hebrew rags. Y'all, so, and this is another thing, y'all. What we want to understand, y'all, this is spirit and life. This ain't got nothing to do with color. Everything we are talking about happened into Egypt, exactly like it's happening in America. Those dark-skinned people were very hard on us. The same exact way. You didn't have enough brick, they put your children in its place. Y'all need to get into this book of Jasher and understand how cruel Egypt was. Bondage. That's what it means. Bondage. Going back to Egypt, go back to bondage. You can't go back to bondage in no way, shape, or form, even up here. It's bondage. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 14. And the angel roused him from his sleep.
Right.
And Joseph rose up and stood upon his legs. And behold, the angel of the Lord was standing opposite to him. And the angel of the Lord spoke to Joseph. And he taught him all the languages of man in that night.
And what night?
In that night.
Y'all think of, y'all talking about a crash course. A crash course overnight. But look, y'all, it's always right before us, but we watching TV for different things instead of fact-finding mission. The book of Eli was saying the same thing. He was moving through town. He recited the whole overnight, all 66 books. He said, I got the King James Version. Then you do what? He said, right here. Right here. And he's in a trance, y'all, reciting the whole thing. If you're watching the man writing it down. This how these things used to go, y'all. It's not something that they just made up. They'll have the writings. They're studying. We just getting used to jazz. They probably got the book of Edo. They probably got the book of Nathan. And they're studying these books and they copying off of them. When you study the testament of the 12 patriarchs and you get into Judah and you see how the Olympics, and then when they comparing them, when you read Judah could outrun a horse in so many furlongs, and then you see Ben Johnson, Chad Johnson, Carl Lewis, Jesse Owens race a horse in that same amount of space and beat them, they say this Judah. Shit, where else you gonna get the speed from but a comic book? All you have to do is see that type of speed at the 100-yard dash out of all the Olympics. Nothing out of all the events. What is it that's up here? The 100-yard dash, where a man runs faster than a car at the time. This many spaces. Because your cars still today have what under the engine? Horsepower. And when you study that book and you see this, and then it say he used to leap up and grab this fruit out of this tree. And then you think about Jordan leaping from the free throw line. You're like, it ain't hard to understand. Go ahead, brother.
And he called his name Jehoshaphat. And the angel of the Lord went from him. And Joseph returned and lay upon his bed.
Right.
And Joseph was astonished at the vision which he saw. And it came to pass in the morning that the king sent for all his officers and servants. And they all came and sat before the king. And the king ordered Joseph to be brought. And the king's servants went and brought Joseph before Pharaoh. And the king came forth and ascended the steps of the throne.
What did he do?
Ascended the steps of the throne. And Joseph spoke unto the king in all languages.
In what languages?
All languages. And Joseph went up to him and spoke unto the king until he arrived before the king in the 17th step.
No.
70th step.
Yeah.
And he sat before the king.
So you see, he's on the 70th step sitting before the king now. He know all the languages of the world. Overnight, y'all. Shalom, y'all. Shalom, fam. This y'all fam where they regulars now. They down here so much. Right.
They just got along.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
And the king greatly rejoiced on account of Joseph. And all the king's officers rejoiced greatly with the king when they heard all the words of Joseph. And the thing seemed good in the sight of the king and the officers, and appointed Joseph to be second to the king over the whole land of Egypt.
So we can hold right there, and y'all can see furthermore of how Joseph elevated himself in Egypt. But what was it for? It was for the plan of them other tribes coming and to be setting up shop in this land. He opened the doorway for that. Y'all, but this go even back further to his dream when he was talking about y'all gonna bow to me in my dream. His brother used to call, here come the dreamer. Here he come, look at this. What you done dreamed about last night? I dreamed the stars and the moon and the sun bowed to me. Look, y'all hear this? This Negro crazy. What, parents gonna bow to children?
Shoot, even Jacob said it.
Yeah, absolutely. He pondered.
He's like, I ain't gonna bow.
How do you, right? What's going on? What kind of dreaming this boy doing?
He thought he was pride and crept up to his daughter.
That's right. But Jacob loved him. He knew what his son was. He prayed and the Spirit revealed it to him. Y'all, but I just wanted to hit that because it's tying into this day of Pentecost. This day when the whole world speaks one language. Y'all, that has to come back, but it can't come back through wickedness. That's why Pharaoh only allowed their law to go second to me, if they could do that. Because he want to be in charge when the building starts. But it's the same thing to try to take over the throne of the Most High. That's why he say, in that day will I turn to you a pure language, so that all can call on me in what? One consent. Ain't gonna be no bunch of different language, y'all. This is the wilderness work right now, where we speak the languages that we know and bring everybody on board. Because if you get to judgment and you don't know that them the Israelites and we're the wild olive branch, that's going to be a problem for you in that day. The same way, y'all, if somebody show up at this feast day and don't know what it's about. You had an appointment, you don't know why you getting checked up on. You sit in the doctor's office, they're like, what, you next? I guess that's me. What are you here for? I don't know. I don't do Christmas no more. What are you here for? don't do Thanksgiving. What are you here for? I don't know. Y'all can't be like that, y'all. We got to get up to speed on our feast days. So when those days roll around, people be saying, it's this day. You be like, what? Oh, I ain't paying no attention to that. And you blasting it don't make you know our feast days, the other days. You can't blast that and take that from them and not replace it with something. Or both y'all in the same bag now. Both of y'all now are not keeping your appointment. You're just talking about the one you ain't going back to. What you got, John?
I know our feast days, well, the devil got his feast days triggered right around our feast days, right?
Right.
But are our feast days done on the calendars?
Some
Depending on what calendar you got.
Satan is the accuser of our brother. He's not going to hide anything from you. It's hidden in plain sight. That's what we have to be careful of. That's what we have to look for. What's happening in plain sight. He can't go to the Father and say, I tricked him not to know what the feast days were. He's like, get out of here, case this mess. How you gonna bring up here? How you gonna bring tampered evidence and planted evidence on them? But y'all, every calendar, when I used to see those moon symbols on there and different things, I never knew what that was, and that was on a weekly calendar, or what you call a Gregorian calendar. You can talk about it all you want, but if it put the moon symbols on there, it ain't cheap. You just don't see it. You think some got mixed up at the printing press. All these dots on these smears on her, half a moon. Go ahead, bro.
Where we going?
Yeah, where you want to go?
Oh, we on that Acts 2nd chapter.
Acts 2.
Yeah, I tell you what, before we hit that, because it was prophesied, let's hit the book of Joel before we do that. Yeah, I want to hit this Joel. We'll hit a little bit of that Zephaniah 3 and 8 too, to know if for one consent, y'all. Going to the book of Joel.
You said Zephaniah 2.
Yeah, we're gonna get that back on the language. We get right here in that day, your sons and your daughters. So we right at Joel. To the 2nd chapter. Get right to the quarter. Let's go 2, and I want to get right to the point, y'all, not to belabor it. Anybody got any questions so far? We're gonna go 2 and start about 21. And we're gonna get down to the visions and double prophecy. Y'all see, a lot of prophecy is written for that time at hand, because each generation have to experience the prophecy. So it's always twofold. It's gonna be in that time right there, and let them experience it so that they'll believe in the resurrection. If you see these supernatural things happening in your time, to have a supernatural vision like that, you just don't wake up and know 70 languages. I'm talking about fluently. Where does that come from? Where does that power come from? That we're trying to tap into, that if somebody walked in here and y'all have been mad on the phone, man, got these damn Arabs on here again. Technical support. I said 2, I punched 2. Can you give me somebody that speaks some clear language? English preferably. You ain't gonna ask them to get a Hebrew specialist on there, are you? Look, I done followed it all the way through, and there's still something wrong. It said, if this trouble call y'all. I don't know what you'd be like, but just to start speaking in their language and have them explain it to you, which they're more comfortable in. Y'all think about that. No more frustration on technical support. Boy, don't that where y'all are when they call? Just 5 minutes of you like, hey, you ain't getting no more. I can't understand what you say.
I remember Radio Raheem and Do the Right Thing. They were just talking about a letter.
Right.
Deep.
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, it's me. Show me. Read it. We in Joel chapter 2, verse 21.
Say what? Don't jump down for time's sake. Start at 27, y'all. We're gonna start at 27. Because I want to get into this Acts 2nd chapter. I want to get into a little bit of a book of John before that.
I'm gonna do 26.
Okay.
All right,
Joel chapter 2. Go ahead, bro.
26. And ye shall eat in plenty, and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, that have dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young
Slow that down. Back that up just a little bit. Slow it down just a little bit.
28 again. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
What kind of flesh?
All flesh.
Okay.
And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered.
Shall be what?
Shall be delivered.
And y'all see, that's a shall be. You won't read in these scriptures, you are saved. It says might be, will be, or shall be, based upon you keeping the commandments. If you get your credits, you'll graduate.
Right.
You're going to graduate with straight F's through high school? What school they do that at?
Streets.
All F's all the time? Go ahead. You finished that?
No. 32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion.
For where?
For in Mount Zion.
See, so we can't go back to where the order of Aaron took place, Mount Sinai. Ain't nothing quoted going back to Mount Sinai on the second round. We're going back to where it started. Back at the beginning, like the Messiah say all the time. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be. The second coming of the Son of Man. So that's telling you Genesis 1:26, as it was in the beginning of creation. I was there too. I'm gonna straighten all this madness out, because it's a lot of madness going on, y'all. TV is loaded. You can't watch TV unless you be prepared to see Sodom and Gomorrah, or you got to change the channel. Guess what? It's gonna be on that channel. Watching football is gonna be that. Damn, it's them pink cleats. Yeah, they say it's for this. Okay. Damn, I can't watch football no more. Nothing that you don't have control over. You're gonna have to be like Lot.
Yep, it's shoes right here.
Yo, this ain't nothing, y'all. We couldn't compare it to what Lot was experiencing. Y'all ever read the 19th chapter of Jasher? Y'all talking about a freak meet. Beds on street corner, drive-by porn. And y'all just meant you driving down Kings Highway, and there it is right there on the street corner. Coming up, y'all. What you got, Elisha?
It wasn't just homosexuality.
No!
Violence at an all-time high because they was robbing any passerby and they was stripping butt naked until they became so destitute and died from starvation and hunger and want of all things in the streets.
Yeah. On the side.
Stripping butt naked
right.
on everything they had, all their goods, all their clothing, everything. And they got
run them pockets off. What you say? Run them pockets.
They were stripping. They would give them gold and money and all that, but wouldn't let them spend it for food until they started and took everything down.
Y'all see that?
They give them that, and then there was another group at the other end that would rob them blind.
Y'all see that? Jack artists.
That sounds like the hood to me.
Jack artists. Yeah, y'all see that?
You owe me for my brick.
They bust your head with a brick, but you owe them for staining their brick with your blood. Right. Yeah. So y'all have to understand, if y'all don't get into the details of what's going on, you'll think it was that sin on. But it was that wisdom, the 19th chapter get into it, dealing about the hospitality part. And y'all, when we talk about hospitality, it's right before our eyes, but we don't see it. When you go to another state, it says welcome. It says welcome to this state. Here's a rest stop. This will tell you everything we have to offer hospitality-wise. So you pull over and you learn, hey, look right there. They got a Big Mama's chicken. Over here, they got what you looking for. Oh, we in the right place. But when you got there, their welcoming was run them pockets. First off, how was that welcoming you into a community?
Invite you to stay at their house. Put all your goods up. Have you stay a couple of days.
Yeah. Right.
Then tell you I got your goods for all you've been eating up and laying.
Right. You don't even know.
You ain't got nothing coming back. You ain't got nothing coming back.
You like, I could have stayed at the Dewdrop Inn.
Dewdrop Inn.
What we got? Go ahead.
The rest of 32. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance.
Shall be what?
Deliverance.
Uh-huh.
As the Lord has said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call.
Okay, y'all. So I wanted to get to that. Get right to Zephaniah 3 and 8. So we're going to move on into the Acts 2nd chapter so we can understand and learn about the day of Pentecost. So we understand it's a feast day, not a religion. The day of Pentecost is about languages of the world hearing about the Most High in one consent. Yo, if you have a handmaiden servant and don't know their language, how they gonna know what it is? You ain't gonna do nothing. But you know the quickest way that you learn a different language today? To be a captive. Because they beat the language into you. Bookie dog. And you be like, what the hell is he saying? Bookie dog, what's that mean? Bookie dog. You be like, okay, Bookie dog. Hey. Boy, when they holler Bookie dog, you gonna be moving. And you become an expert at that language from the captive perspective. You know their language because if you don't, what's coming?
All right, we're in Zephaniah chapter 3, read 8 and 9. Oh, boy. All right. Verse 8.
Everybody hold on, their page is flipping. You what, boy?
The dudes out there, my mom is boy, tell your friends, don't be coming by the shit. The dude dropped in.
Absolutely, bro. Right.
Oh, Zephaniah chapter 3, verses 8 and 9.
What it say, boy?
All right. Therefore wait ye upon me.
Do what?
Wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, unto the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour out upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with fire of my jealousy, the fire of my jealousy. For then will I turn to the people a pure language.
What kind of language?
A pure language. That they may all call upon the name of the Lord to serve him with one consent.
What kind of consent?
One consent.
See, that we won't have to be going through what no J in the alphabet in the 1400s, so we can't say G's. Look, what no J in Jerusalem when we got kicked out. And it said we got kicked out for profaning the name of the Lord. So what letter was it in Jerusalem that we got kicked out for? I'm not worried about the 1400. It said we profaned his name.
The law.
In Ezekiel 16th chapter, we profaned his holy name. If it ain't no J there, what letter was it then?
The law.
It was the law. It was behavior. We profaned his name. If the law say this and you doing the opposite, what you doing in his name? And saying I'm with him. Yo, this ain't got nothing to do about characters. This is about law. His name, Exodus 20. Revelation 19, his name. This is what this comes down to, and being obedient to it. Yo, we can quote ourselves to death. But if we ain't walking the walk, we wasting breath that we could use later. Exactly. Wasting good breath. All we doing is looking in the refrigerator, our eyes bigger than our stomach. You only took one bite out of that. Why are we wasting breath on something that ain't gonna move nothing and we waiting on the pure language? Why are we tangled up in a J in the 1400s? I want to know the letter that got us run out of Jerusalem. So I stay away from that letter. Where we at?
That's it.
Verse 9, you got it? Okay. Acts 2nd chapter, y'all. Now I'll tell you what, hold on, I wanted to hit leading up to that. So John, the 21st chapter. Yo, and this is after he had been offered his first fruits. He come back to his disciples to let them know, y'all ain't gonna never leave y'all. Y'all, what we're about to read eliminates reincarnation. This the same Messiah. And y'all understand that his flesh was supernaturally healed, but he left the wounds there for a reason. So that nobody else could say, oh man, that was Earl from the stable. That wasn't the Messiah. Y'all believe anything. Because Thomas didn't believe. No. You heifers ain't seen the Messiah. I ain't gonna believe it. Unless I see the nail prints. Yes, sir.
We'll be reading in the book of John, chapter 21. We'll start it at verse 1.
See, because y'all, we have to get the understanding of the commandments when he sent us out. Because you will hear from these man-made doctrines that, what is the Great Commission? What is the Great Commission? I'm like, I don't know nothing about no Great Commission. What you talking about? You have to make sure you don't get caught up in what's called syncretism, mixing of two doctrines. So y'all, we have to be careful if somebody say the great, what I just say it was called? Your Great Commission. Y'all, that's something totally different. That means he sent everybody out into the world. They want to call it that. And then they can make up the rules on how that goes. Like Jehovah's Witness knocking on your door. They call that the Great Commission. That sounds like an elimination process. If you say it's only 144,000 that can make it, why are you knocking on my door? That's a problem, man. It's almost like your job training you for somebody else. We downsize it, but if you want to stay and make look extra money, you can train these new people your job, and then we'll see you later. You get the severance package. Go ahead, bro.
Reading in the book of John, chapter 21, starting at verse 1.
What it say?
And it reads, after these things, Yeshua showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself. There were together Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus.
See, Thomas called Didymus. Didymus the twin. Thomas was a twin. Let's call him twin like we call some of these twins around here. We got some twins around here. Hang out with Nehemiah. The twins. Go ahead.
There were together Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and two other of his disciples. Simon Peter saith unto them, I go a fishing.
Right.
They say unto him, we also go with thee. They went forth and entered into a ship immediately. And that night they caught nothing.
What they do?
They caught nothing.
Ooh, a non-profitable night. All day on the banks. All day on the banks, and ain't caught nothing. Go ahead.
But when the morning was now come, Yeshua stood on the shore, but the disciples knew not that it was Yeshua. Then Yeshua saith unto them, children, have ye any meat? They answered him, no. And he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find.
So you see the Messiah come back still feeding. Come back and do what he left off doing. Come back to feed. Y'all got any food over there? But at least what happened was they was putting forth an effort to work. To try. Like, did y'all catch anything last night? All night they wasn't biting. They say, okay, as long as you've been out there putting it on the ground, you ain't gonna eat for free. Go ahead.
They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Therefore, that disciple whom Yeshua loved saith unto Peter, it is the master. Now, when Simon Peter heard that it was the master, he girt his fisher's coat unto him, for he was naked, and did cast himself into the sea. And the other disciples came in a little ship, for they were not far from land, but as it were 200 cubits, dragging the net with fishes.
So 200 cubits, the cubits is 18 inches, or the tip of the elbow to the tip of the finger usually. How many cubits was that? 200? 200 times 18 is what? Huh? What? Boy, that sounds like somebody done went to that school where you graduate with all that. What? No, see, we need that 200 count times 18. What? 3,600. Now divided it by, because we got, yeah. So now we have to divide it by 3 to get yards. Divided by 12 if you're gonna do yards, or by 36 to know how many yards that is. So if you divide that by 36, where we at?
100 yards.
100 yards they drag that fish. See, y'all, we want to make sure you see what these scriptures are saying, because it's a living book. You have to see what's going on. You have to picture how far they drug this from. How many yards was that?
36 or 100.
100 yards, football field. 300 feet. That's right.
The distance between telephone poles is 100 feet, so 3 telephone poles.
Go ahead, bro.
With verse 9.
Uh-huh.
As soon then as they were come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid thereon, and bread.
Y'all see how the Messiah laid it out? Yo, it's ready. Yo, if the master is doing this, what we look like trying to enslave one of our own brothers? To do what? Or to call them what? If the master is doing this for us, what you look like calling somebody that's standing in line too with their plate? Why are you gonna call him Lord? Is anything left up there? Yeah, it's plenty up there, they say. Yo, all glory, majesty, and honor to the Father and only begotten Son. Go ahead. Let's read some more of these miracles.
With verse 10. Yeshua saith unto them, bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land full of great fishes, 153. And for all there were so many, yet was not the net broken. Yeshua saith unto them, come and dine.
Come and do what?
Come and dine.
Y'all see how he prepared the table the same way he did on the Passover. Come and eat, y'all. Yo, this is why feasts are so important. Yo, he ain't giving out Cadillacs. He ain't sending nobody to Jared's. He doing what the soul need to eat and be charged back up to do this work. Go ahead.
Yeshua saith unto them, come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, who art thou? Knowing that it was the Most High.
Right.
Yeshua then cometh and taketh bread and giveth them, and fish likewise.
See, y'all, this breaking of bread, this order, Melchizedek, he's working them up into this priestly order. Breaking bread with your brethren. This is how we're going to live starting out in 1,000 years. Y'all, this why is so important for these feast days. If you can't live together on a feast day, 1,000 years is a waste of time for you to think you can do. You can't do a weekend, you in trouble.
Right.
We starting out at 1,000. If you tired of seeing somebody's face after 2 days, it's going to be a problem with 1,000. You waving bye, bye, see y'all later. Close the door. Whoa! I didn't think they was never going to leave. Shit ate up all of Uncle Junior's chicken. What? Who said they coming back next week? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 14. This is now the third time that Yeshua showed himself to his disciples.
Y'all see how them threes is working 3 days, 3 nights in the ground. I'm going to show y'all myself 3 times, so it ain't going to be no question about who it is. And it ain't 3 different individuals. It's the same individual. Go ahead, bro.
After that, he was risen from the dead.
After he was risen from what?
He was risen from the dead.
The same individual. Go ahead.
So when they had dined, Yeshua said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, feed my lambs.
Look, he set the example, though. Feed my lambs. You love me? What I just did for you, do it for them. Yo, is that hard work? Is that something that's grievous? What you just saw how I did it, I'm gonna give you power to do the same thing, but you got to do. You love me? More than these? Feed my sheep then. That's all I'm asking you. How hard is that, y'all? If you want to eat, you gotta feed.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time.
What time?
The third time. Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me?
He wanted to see if Peter truly understood what he was saying. Man, you hear what I'm saying? Lovest thou me? Yeah, Lord. Peter, lovest thou me? Yeah, Lord. But what do you think I ain't gonna, I don't love her? He didn't ask me again, and everybody looking, woo. Oh.
Right, something
Must be going on.
What's going on? He keep asking the same question, but y'all, after the second and third admonition, like the rules of the book say, then every word is confirmed. So at this point, I'm gonna ask you a couple more times to make sure. See, we ain't gonna have that repeat performance. And when I ask you, when they ask you three times, you know him?
He said we ain't gonna have that repeat performance.
Do you know him? I don't know who he is. Because at this point, all of the miracles had went out the window because they beaten the master. So they panicking now. But not thinking one time he could send a hurricane or call on a force, a legion of angels to clear this matter up right now. But he said, I have to do this just like y'all have to feed my sheep. So when you hear Great Commission, or you just look at it and say, are you talking about feeding the sheep? Make them work that into this scripture, not you try to take on what they say. Feed my sheep, y'all. Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. And Yeshua saith unto him, Feed my sheep.
See, he like, look, I hear what you saying.
Right.
I hear what you saying. I'm gonna say it one more time. Feed my sheep. 3 times, so it's no excuse. Not 2 times, like your grandfather in Mississippi would say when he ain't gonna repeat himself. Look, I ain't gonna chew my cabbage twice. Go ahead.
Verse 18. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldest not. So
right here, the Messiah is prophesying to him, you're going to live a long life. And when you get old, all you're going to have to do is stretch forth your hands. So another is put your clothes on. You know how you do your parents when they're in the hold your arm up? Put their jacket on, slide it on in. Another addressed it because of what you did. All of this, y'all, is stacked up so that your ending ends up better than your beginning. And you pull your feet in your bed. When you pull your feet in your bed with your family standing around, you are full well and accepted everything that book has said. I'm about to find out here very shortly.
That's right.
And you gladly pull them up in there and smile. Yo, that's the order of it. That's the way it was always supposed to be. But with the world going on today, parents are pulling their feet in the bed. Ain't no children because we're killing each other at the high rate like we don't. It's more RIP shirts. I ain't seen no grandpas or grandma on these RIP shirts.
Nope.
All I'm seeing is young brothers. Ain't even making it to 17. 14. Go ahead.
Verse 19. This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify Yah. And when he had spoken this, he saith unto him, follow me. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Yeshua loved follow.
See, now we talk about favorites. It said the disciple whom Jesus loved. What you think the other one's saying? Man, he loved more than me. Mm-hmm. See, it's not a love the Most High. It's ones you have closer to you than others. It don't mean you don't love the rest of them, but it's something about this disciple that there's no guile found out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. No ill will comes from his mouth. His word is bond. His word is true. And the Most High say, you can hang around with me. You can stay close to me. And he just wasn't laying a grown man laying up like this. Get that out your mind. He was his right-hand man. He was his bosom like his wife. He was his right there, ride or die. Go ahead.
Verse 20 from the top.
Uh-huh.
Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Yeshua loved following, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? Peter, seeing him, saith to Yeshua, Lord, and what shall this man do? Yeshua saith unto him, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee? Follow thou me.
Hey, don't worry about that.
Then went this saying abroad among the brethren, that the disciple should not die. Yet Yeshua said not unto him, he shall not die. But if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to thee?
See, so we can get mixed up in the understanding of what he means when he asks questions in parables, but they're always explained before we get to the next verse, so you can have an understanding of what it's meaning, of what he's breaking on. He's like, look, all I want y'all to do is wait. Tarry here, just wait. See, and we have that problem of wanting to rush into the kingdom now. Y'all, we have to tarry. We have to wait. It's a lot of brethren that we have to get to. It's a lot of work still. The harvest is plentiful. Mm-hmm. But what? Labors are few. Go ahead. What you saying, like? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Verse 24. This is the disciple which...
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the disciple which testifieth of these things, and wrote these things. And we know that his testimony is true. And there are also many other things which Yeshua did, the which, if they should be written every one, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. Amen.
See, y'all, the commission is just to feed the sheep, and with feeding the sheep, you're going to have to understand the sheep. So with feeding other nations, or who the light of Israel are, you got to come well equipped. A lot of people don't listen to you unless they know it's food around. You have to make sure they get it both spiritually and physically so they know what the kingdom is like. So you get fed by both. So you understand what we're talking about supernaturally. So you understand it physically. And you don't understand it from a bad perspective, so to speak.
Or emotional side.
Yeah. So you have to understand, y'all, feed the sheep so you can continue to eat. Mm-hmm. Acts 2nd chapter.
Start the one.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of wrap it up and tighten it up real good. We gotta talk about the feast and you know how we're gonna get prepared for that. And I know some of y'all will make sure you get on the roster, so to speak, that because we're going to the store after this. So I want to make sure your preparation is key to feeding the sheep. First spiritually here today, and then flesh. Go ahead.
Acts chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come.
See, fully come. The count was in. The count was in. Go ahead.
They were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the houses where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues.
Hold on, let's start that over. Hold on. That sister know where the baby room at, right? Yeah, she good, okay. Couldn't see with these glasses on. Go ahead.
And they appeared unto them with cloven tongues, like as fire, and it sat upon each of them.
See, so this is the difference from the first baptism when the Messiah was baptized. The heavens opened and doves came down as a sign of peace. That's what he came for the first time around. Yo, we're going to be peaceful and talk about this, but when I come back, it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. He's going to baptize us with fire. Y'all, this is the fire baptism coming. This is the part that if you're just doing the water baptism of John, the baptism of repentance, you're going to miss this part right here. The water ain't going to make you speak languages to other nations. The fire will. That's what was promised. The fire. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost.
What was they filled with?
The Holy Ghost. And began to speak with other tongues.
What kind of tongues?
Other tongues. As the Spirit gave them utterance.
What gave them utterance?
The Spirit gave them utterance.
Okay.
And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under the heaven. Under heaven.
From where?
Every nation under heaven.
See, so we write back in Zechariah 14 that where every nation comes up to Jerusalem. Y'all, this don't mean the world gonna empty out and everybody gonna show up at Jerusalem. The heads of these nations have to come up to Jerusalem. You see it right before your eyes in the way they set it up. The heads of the nations go to them councils. And they go back and tell their people, I told them no, but they said it ain't gonna be no rain. They're gonna put sanctions on us. The Messiah's gonna put down heavenly sanctions on the nations that don't obey. We ain't gonna have a repeat performance of what we're going through right now. What you got, Elijah?
Hey, Dan, can you explain the difference between the Jews and the devout men? How the devout man between breaks down that these are two different types of men that were present.
Yeah. Because we know Cornelius, who was of the Italian band, was a devout out of Italian. A devout man of good report among the Jews. He can't be a Jew and they talking about him like he a stranger. They say it was a good report of all the nation. His alms giving. He believed the word. And immediately he crashed on kneecaps to Peter. Peter like, hold on, partner, hold on. I'm just supposed to feed you. That's all I'm supposed to do is feed you. I ain't come here for you to be bowing to me. Not like that. Let's read some more.
Verse 6. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language.
So some teach that this meant all Israel came up from different nations and it was only them. The only difference, we're going to run into some words like proselytes and different things like that. Proselytes are one coming into a new doctrine or coming into a doctrine. Right. So we can't proselyte back to what we ain't never left. We who we are. We can't be proselyte because they're going to keep us as an outside Israelite. Mm-hmm. Proselytes is everybody else coming into what you getting down with. Let's get it.
Elisha got a question.
Go ahead, Elisha.
The Bible is just being committed to another one's doctrine and system and culture. So the Bible is not attached to one who's already born an Israelite inside and out.
Right.
It's attached to one who's not an Israelite inwardly.
That's right.
Or by blood.
That's right.
One who converts to and is fully committed to Israel. Or to the God of Israel. And it's only begotten Son.
That's right.
I want to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
Like, I ain't understand. I thought like you was all like Israel. You born in Israel. Yeah.
Right.
That's why I'm saying. That's why
The vow is a title that is attached to an outside, a Gentile nation converted to Israel.
Like the devout Muslim or whatever, or be somebody converted to Islam or whatever.
Right.
They totally give themselves over to their God. Holy.
So they become devout. They become wholeheartedly committed.
I want to say something.
Y'all just got a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, LC.
Because he was Matthew 23, he said, you come across land and see it make possible. And once you make it possible, you make it possible.
And see, it said, and that's the Messiah talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He said, you make proselytes, but the only way that can be done is through man-made religion. So you make them come onto your doctrine. So now an Israelite man has become a proselyte because he's joining a man-made doctrine. See, we were proselytized getting into Christianity, getting into Jehovah's Witnesses. We were proselytized into a man-made doctrine. But he said the Pharisees were starting to do that because he said everything you talk about washing your hands and doing that. If you was Abraham's children, you'd be doing what Abraham do. Y'all got a whole nother situation going there. And you making proselytes. Follow your man-made doctrine. So that's the only way. But when we talk about bloodline, when we talk about covenant, we can't be nobody else but who we are. We can't escape Deuteronomy 28. The gauntlet has already been laid down. If it was, we'd try to get into somebody else's doctrine to get out of our curses.
Right. But you see, if you go into any church, any man-made religious church, they have a church covenant.
That's right. What they got?
Covenant of the Most High is a church covenant.
Right there.
Which is their organization according to their 501c3.
That's right.
Which is abiding by the bylaws of this heathen government. Right.
So y'all see that church covenant. No gun popping. Some of it's discipline, and you should adhere to it. You go to the bathroom, one finger high and tip lightly. Y'all know the rules. Look, if you ain't never been at church and you go, you gotta go to the bathroom, you like this. They say it on their covenant. What you got, sis?
So the question is, even though you were born into covenant, is it necessary to reconnect or coming back into the covenant that you never knew?
Right, we did that with Aaron. That got us on track again. But the identity is already out there. There ain't no way you can look that this ain't being talked about. It's out there now. Now we have to walk it according to the covenant that was made with Abraham, because that's where it started at. An engagement process 430 years. Abraham didn't get to see the wedding at Mount Sinai. That covenant was an engagement process for 430 years through coming out of Egypt he was told all this, your sons and your daughters, this what's going to happen in the future. But no, they going into captivity. That's part of the covenant.
Right. His covenant was always there. We're the ones that just went away from it.
Yeah.
And then by the fact that, we're finding out his word has always been there. But, it's like I look at our camp, it's like there's a first generation of it, and then people are growing, but his word has stayed. He's kept it alive throughout. But everybody is just gone away from it. But when you find out, you're like, this is the truth. And I'm seeking the truth. Then I got to get back on what he originally said.
Yeah. That was a promise made that Abraham made a covenant. Covenants are always, y'all, when anybody make a deal together, they say they married, right? Mm-hmm. They ain't coming together. Whatever it is, contracts or marriage, we hooked, we linked together. And he was told that 400 years they're going into captivity. That's part of that covenant he was given. It's part of the engagement process till we got to the wedding ceremony that re-instructs us on the Most High and his instructions. Those Ten Commandments was written by the hand of God. And Moses came down and he said, here our marriage covenant is. These the rules of our marriage covenant. And they sprinkled the people with the blood of an unblemished bullock. So it symbolizes the virgin hymen blood. And we was married at Mount Sinai and re-instructed on who we were and how to walk. And it's the rough patches always come first in a marriage, don't it? Scuffling and fighting, getting through, but we got to keep moving through till we get to the promised land.
Because you'll find that over time, that strife becomes lesser and lesser.
Yeah.
Through understanding and growing together and being committed through your unification. Like the unification of Christ with the body, the church, the body of the church.
Got a question over there.
Who got what? All right. What that say on your hat? Okay. Go ahead.
Say hat.
Oh.
I'm outside. I remember some blood at that time. They like three things, right? At once. It sealed the covenant, so it was a seal.
Right.
Then it cleansed us.
Yes, sir. Right.
And then it protected us.
Yes, sir. The trifecta. Mm-hmm. The trifecta. Yes, sir. It did all of that because that's what it's supposed to do. It sealed us so if anybody, see, that's why when the Most High divorced us, ain't nobody else we had a marriage covenant with. Ain't no other nation claimed us. Look, how America claimed us when the Constitution was written, you was a slave. You wasn't in on that covenant. You're trying to grab hold and get into that covenant now with civil rights. Not saying that any of that because you have to live here. Not saying anything crazy of like joining in, but what's happening is we don't understand. You're under already a covenant. Can't be two covenants.
That you run it away from.
So y'all, and look, we have to be extra careful with saying that as well. Because we got scriptures that say, look, I set these kingdoms up. You're going to have to learn how to deal with their laws, statutes, and judgments. You're going to have to. They the rulers. I set them up. But you don't have to worry about their laws, statutes, and judgments because they're only set up for evil people. Mm-hmm. If you practice an evil, their laws are going to get you. And their laws don't care what color you is. Some get leniency. But the governor of Chicago is in jail. Martha Stewart went to jail and she's a billionaire. Whatever you call it. Whatever you call it. She wasn't making cookies with Snoop Dogg. Absolutely. We know about the privileges. So that helps us understand the difference in how the kingdom would be. You got to see the flip side of what it's saying. You have to see it so you understand it. So it won't be as hard on you, you know, in the kingdom. If you see it, you practicing it already. The bottom should be the top. You got to look at it from that perspective. He put them in position to rule like that and not to allow us to get past, like Pharaoh said, second in command. Ain't nobody been second in command from the children of Israel, ever.
But see, this is also part of the covenant that we should be provoked to jealousy by another nation, a foolish nation. We in their kingdom, so they're not going to say something the same as we are. This is their kingdom.
It's their kingdom. They supposed to get it. We get the same thing. Romans 2:9, Romans 1:16. Blessing, honor, and all of it to come with it. To who first? And then who? Tribulation, anguish, and punishment. To who first? So that's the lesson that they didn't do right under their covenant. They don't punish their people first. They get them though. Cocaine is still cocaine. What they said, if you cook it, you're going to get this much time. If you leave it powder, you're going to get this much time. That's an option. Why do we have to start cooking? You cook your time. The problem would be to see if we get the same amount of time for powder that they get.
Did you hear about the comparison that T.I. was making about that cat and then the guy that did the shooting in Texas? Both crimes happened in Texas. Both the guy who just did the shooting in Texas last week, they said that he's 17, so he can't face a death penalty and he can't be automatically given life in prison without the possibility of parole. So he will, at a minimum, receive 40 years. Where another cat that T.I. was talking about, who supposedly just murdered someone, one person, can receive the death penalty. So they're talking about the differences in justice. And if I could have two verses right here real quick while where we're at, I want to explain something.
Where you at? Where you talking about, brother?
Right here. Where we're at in verse 6. Yeah, Acts second chapter.
What verse we at?
Verse
I'm saying, what to read at?
Yeah. I'm on 7 now. I'm on 7 now.
Okay, go ahead and explain this. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, right here, you know, in Acts chapter 2, on the subject of tongues and what we're talking about.
Right.
Acts chapter 2 and 1 Corinthians chapter 14.
Yeah, we get that next. Going.
Okay.
Yeah, your spirit is right.
I'm not using the witness though. Okay,
all right.
So give the two witnesses on what I was speaking on right here. If we run back up to verse 4, real quick, and verse 6, just the definitions you see to change. When you're trying to explain to someone the differences in speaking tongues as opposed to vain babbling. The definition, I just seen this, the definition is given right here. In verse 4, it says, to speak with other tongues. And in verse 6, it defines it by saying, because every man heard them speak in his own language.
Absolutely,
right
bro.
there, you can explain to someone what tongues means.
Right. Absolutely, bro.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
There's the word right there.
Yes, sir.
It defines tongues.
See, it eliminates that man-made doctrine of babbling.
Coming in the Honda.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. What'd he say? I don't know. But he spoke in tongues. Y'all, it's rules to speaking in tongues like he mentioned in 1 Corinthians 14 that we're going to next, y'all. The Bible is a living book, so it has to have instruction on how you move forward with the gifts. Or you be using those gifts to do the wrong thing. So it has a list of rules. So you can't say, well, I didn't know. The rules tell you what to do, y'all, and we're going to get into that. So what will further clarify what brother was saying is that this was talking about the languages of the earth, not some mysterious tongue that can't nobody seem to interpret. Nobody. And not only that, but that book will also explain that tongues is only one of the gifts. And it don't even exceed prophecy. Greater is he that do what? Prophesy. Than he that what? Except he what? Interpret or edify. If you can't tell me what you just said, you're babbling. You're Genesis 11 again. You're trying to build to heaven and don't nobody know what you're saying. That's why the tower was stopped. Still to this day, standing with half built. Because it stopped. And if you're speaking languages now that don't nobody understand, you telling me about the Lord in that language, and I'm sitting back like this, what the hell is he saying? Coming in a Honda. What we gonna build? What? I don't know what you saying. Let's read some more, y'all, so we can get to that 1 Corinthians, then we're gonna close out.
Acts chapter 2, verse 7.
Yes, sir.
And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galileans?
So that lets you know it wasn't everybody that was speaking in the tongues to everybody. It was a Galilean. Wasn't that what the disciples called? That was the late told Peter. You wasn't them Galilean. Mm-hmm. You was with the Messiah. That man called himself the Messiah. He's like, oh, what? What? Yes, you. I can hear it in your voice. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. 3 times, though. That's why I kept asking, feed my sheep. 3 times. So I'm clear you can't say you didn't hear what I asked you. Let's get some more.
And now how hear we, every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born?
Right.
Parthians, and Medes, and Elamites, and the dwellers of Mesopotamia, and in Judah, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, and Phrygia, and Pamphylia, and Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabs. We do hear them speak in our tongue the wonderful works of Yahweh.
So it was Israelites up there, but you see how it makes a distinction. Jews and proselytes, like Elijah said. Converts as well as Israelites going up to Jerusalem. Because that was the order too. Feast days are in Jerusalem. Come up once a year. But when you're in captivity, that changed the rules. Look, what if you on papers? You can't go to Jerusalem. The laws ain't said. The Most High already looked down the line and saw that if Satan could prevent you from keeping a feast day outside the land. And those who teach that you can't keep it outside the land, why? They never are seen on a plane going to the feast day in the land. If you're saying you can't keep it in the land, what's stopping you from going? Is it a passport? What is it that stops you? You're promoted, you can't do it here. Why you don't get on a plane and do it there? That's the question I'm asking. I ain't battling over this. You got plane tickets for this feast. No, you're trying to cut the laws down. If it's 613, now you done made them 612. Next, I'm gonna have a law I'm gonna cut. Can't do it over there. The book say no. Y'all will be down to 1. Right. 1 law. And then we know what's gonna happen with that. Let's move on.
Verse 12. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, what meaneth this?
What meaneth this? This prophecy being revealed. What you mean, what meaneth this? Go ahead.
Others mocking said, these men are full of new wine.
Full of new wine. New wine gets you drunk quick. New wine, they have powerful names on it to try to draw you in to come drink. Cisco. K12. What's some of that? Camus. Ripple. Wow. R&R.
Underbird.
A reckless rider when you on that. How you gonna get 2 gallons for $6? That new wine will have you crazy. They say they full of that new wine. Let's get some more.
Verse 14. But Peter standing up with the 11.
With the who?
With the 11.
So we see who the conversation is about. Peter standing up with the 11. So the Pentecostal doctrine try to make it sound like everybody was involved. Everybody hollering a strange language, running around in a circle in the church, just running up and down the aisles. Falling out. I ain't never seen that in the scripture. And when he shall lay hands on thee, these shall run wildly and blindly through the aisles of the synagogue. Thou shalt dance and be fanned feverishly before thy fall out. Well, y'all done seen that in the scripture. Go ahead.
But Peter standing up with the 11 lifted up his voice and said unto them, Ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken men, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the 3rd hour of the day.
9 o'clock in the morning. If it's drunk at 9 a.m., it's a problem. The day done got started stepping in fence post holes. You got 9 hours to go of daylight. You ain't even got to the sunny part of the day where we just read about how hot the sun is and what it do, how to wither grass and the next day it'll grow back. You full of that good R&R for $6 for 6 gallons. And the sun come on you, it's gonna be trouble. Go ahead.
But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel.
By the prophet who?
Joel.
See, that's why we just read that this is coming to pass right here. Y'all, every time these feast days come up, whether y'all know it or not, the world is getting ready. Because they think prophecy is being fulfilled too. They on the track too. They are battle array. We sit back here, won't even go to the appointment. And they are preparing war based off of these feast days. They saying they Messiah coming. They watching better than us. That's the problem, y'all. They know better than us. Let's get some more.
Verse 17. And it shall come to pass in the last days, says Yahweh, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants,
on my who?
On my servants, and on my handmaids, I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy.
They shall do what?
Prophesy.
See, y'all, we have to prophesy. Speaking in tongues on this day don't do nothing unless we prophesy. That's what they were saying. It's in Joel what's happening today. If we just heard strange languages and didn't know what it was about, how can prophecy go forth? Don't nobody know. It stops right there then. Go ahead, brother.
And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Will be saved.
Shall be saved.
Okay, thank you.
Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahweh of Nazareth, a man approved among Yahweh, approved of Yahweh among you by miracles and wonders and signs.
So how was he approved to us? Was it about the letter of his name? How was he approved to us? What did you say? By what? No, read him what he was approved to us by what? Miracles, wonders, and signs. That's the stamp of approval. I ain't wrestling with you about no J. If you put a Y there, I'm still looking for signs and wonders and miracles. Benjamin Carter called himself Yahweh ben Yahweh. What a miracle. Huh? You done stripped down in Leavenworth Penitentiary, called and trying to teach class from prison. Told by the PO department, you better not never teach this again. Oh, can I go back? No. You got receipts because you're supposed to be working now. No, he wasn't approved by no miracles. Neither was Benjamin Carter over there in the Dimona Desert. What a miracle of taking over Tel Aviv. Both of them gone. At the same time, claiming both of them the Messiah. You and he's here in the West. And neither one of you ain't claiming which one is the false one. It can't be two of you.
David Koresh was alive. Was alive at the same time.
Antichrist to the podium in BC.
Who, Farrakhan? Yeah, both of them playing with Farrakhan. Hugh Lyon Mitchell down in Florida in his warehouse, him and Farrakhan holding their hands up like this in front of a crowd of people. You think a Jew and a Muslim can't get along? You better look at here. You better look at here. You the same people. But see, it's proselyte because it's man-made doctrine. He proselyting one of them, but which one is getting proselytized into the other? Both of them on the payroll. You better look at him. Where we at?
22.
Go ahead.
The rest of 22. Which Yahweh did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. Him being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of Yahweh, ye have taken, and by wicked hands have crucified and slain, whom Yahweh hath raised up, having loosed the pains of death, because it was not possible that he should be holden of it. For David speaketh concerning him, I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved.
Yes, sir.
Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope.
Right.
Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. So
we know this ain't David talking about himself, because David turned to dust immediately. You have to understand that the Messiah laid his life down, and he saw no corruption. None. No worms chewed on his flesh. None. Skip down to verse 34.
Acts chapter 2, verse 34. For David is not ascended unto the heaven.
Where David ain't?
He is not ascended unto the heaven.
Right.
But he saith himself, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou on my right hand, until I make thy foes thy footstool.
Now, some say David was talking about himself.
Nope.
Around here, we call that schizophrenic. This would be a confused individual. For I have not ascended into the heaven. What he would be saying? If this all about David, y'all, so we wanted to get that clear and understood. All of this time, these feast days are always could be tied to the second coming of the Messiah, because it's the appointment day. If you don't keep your appointment, you could miss the boat, so to speak. All of these days are tied to the day of the Lord. They getting prepared for it. We don't even know it. They getting prepared that the Lord could come back any day with them 10,000 saints mentioned in the scripture that he coming with in the book of Jude and the book of Enoch. Any day. You know, the Feast of Tabernacles, they camp out on Mount Olive, on the Mount of Olivet. It's tied to the second coming. Blood in the sky is going to be something supernatural, y'all. We need to pay attention. If you see something, just watch as well as pray. Don't just take for face value, oh, they fooling us on everything. The devil don't play that way. The devil show it to you. What do you desire? Just like to show Lucifer. He looked right in your eye. But what is it really you desire? Is it Pentecost? Or do you want to become a Pentecostal? Come on, they have more fun. We finished that? Yeah. 1 Corinthians 14, y'all, we're going to hit this, and so we understand the day of Pentecost in the tongue, so we don't get mixed up in the man-made religion versus the feast day appointment. We're going to get some clear understanding of this because that doctrine teaches that unless you speak in tongues, you can't have the Holy Spirit. Now, I ain't seen that, and I'm just asking anybody out here, have you seen that? Because the book of instructions say totally different. There's not a commandment in here the Most High tells us to do that does not have instructions with it. Everything comes with instructions. First Corinthians 14, verse 1. Who got it?
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1.
Hold on, here's 2 pages flipped. Y'all see the book deals with it got books about wisdom. It got books, every instruction about every one of those 7 spirits that dwell with the Most High. Those 7, wisdom and understanding and knowledge and It don't just say all of them are tongues. All of them are prophecy. All of them are wisdom. The Messiah had all of them and gave them away. Free. Let's get it.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 1.
What it say?
Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy.
But rather that you may do what?
Prophesy.
See, this is the book of tongues, and it's not saying rather that you speak in tongues. Rather that you can tell somebody and get them prepared for the second coming. Because we could be in that time, y'all. Let's get it.
For he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto Yahweh. For no man understandeth him. Howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mysteries. But he that prophesied.
But he that what?
That prophesied speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. He that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifieth himself. But he that prophesied edifieth the church.
So this man-made doctrine of Pentecostal is off base right here because they say if you don't speak in tongues, you can't know God. This right here is saying if there ain't no prophecy taking place, it's a problem. Wonder why they never teach 1 Corinthians 14 in the Pentecostal church. If they do come up, they stop right there. See, I ain't supposed to know what I'm saying. I ain't supposed to know what I'm saying. Open it back up. Open it back up. We finna keep going down the line. Read some more, bro.
Verse 5.
What it say?
I would that ye all speak with tongues.
Right.
But rather that ye prophesy.
But rather that you do what?
Prophesy. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues.
Right there. You think they'll ever read that to you? The book been closed. The book been closed before you get to this verse. And you've been clapped away from this verse. What you say? She spoke in tongues and ain't no interpreter there. There's more rules coming to this, y'all, down the line. Let's keep reading, and we're going to close out. Go ahead.
Except he interpret.
Except he do what?
Interpret.
See, it's never downplay a gift. It says, except you interpret with tongue. Go ahead.
That the church may receive edifying.
Y'all see how this is about the church? This ain't about no individual glorifying himself that he can speak another language. This is about this body, this church, that all may get edification.
That the wife is prepared for the marriage.
Like what?
The wife is prepared for the marriage.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Now, brethren, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you? Except I shall speak to you either by revelation or by knowledge or by prophesying or by doctrine.
Right. So he's saying if it ain't pertaining to this word, what does coming in a Honda mean? Jesus. That's not manna bread. Keep going.
And even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sound. How shall it be known what is pipe or harp?
It says, look, even you got an instrument that don't have a voice in it. It's you have to give it voice. It said, but if you blow that and don't nobody know what the tune is, what different? I mean, how you gonna know what it is if you call the battle? You go to the baseball game and they stomping, do what?
So,
If some Kenny G came on there, you stomping it, flu. Go ahead, y'all.
verse 9. So likewise ye, except ye utter by the tongue words easily to be understood.
To be what?
Easily to be understood. How shall it be known what is spoken? For ye shall speak into the air.
It's going up into the air. Gone like good candy. Gone. You wasting your breath. This breath we can use for later. Go ahead.
There are, it may be, so many kinds of voices in the world, and none of them is without signification.
So it's saying there's a bunch out there. So don't no language is out there that you can say, well, I learned, I lived in this land, and the language I didn't have, the language I needed to worship you. Nope. Front of your Bible say, translated, diligently translated. That means work hard on translating into a language you can understand so we can build the tower righteously. Come together and build that tower righteously. Let's read some more.
Verse 11. Therefore, if I know not the meaning of the voice, I shall be unto him that speaketh a barbarian.
Right. And
he that speaketh shall be a barbarian unto me.
This is what happened in Genesis 11. That was barbarian talk. Go. No, barbarian talk. And y'all know what we saying. You speak as a barbarian, you crazy. I mean, you still don't know what fire is yet. You still plucking bugs off and that's a barbarian. He say if it ain't no understanding, you might as well be that person. Let's get it.
Even so ye, for as much as ye are zealous of spiritual gifts.
What kind of gifts?
Spiritual gifts. Seek that ye may excel the edifying of the church.
To the edifying of the church. Though you seek spiritual gifts, if it ain't about edifying this church, you wasting your time asking for this gift. Who you gonna do? Practice on yourself every weekend? Looking in the mirror? Speaking in tongues and don't know what you say. Let's get some more.
Wherefore, let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret.
Let him do what?
Pray that he may interpret.
So this kills them when they holler, I ain't supposed to know what I'm saying. I'm talking to God. G-A-W-D. God. Don't supposed to know. Get off of her. She been speaking to God. Get off of her. Ain't no edification. No. What did God say to you? Maybe he said to you what he said to Saul. You're going to be dead in the morning. What if he's saying that to you? Why is it you don't know what he's saying to you? You don't want to know. He could be telling you, hey, get Austin Lane's number. Hey. Go ahead.
Wherefore, let him that speaketh in an unknown tongue pray that he may interpret. For if I pray in an unknown tongue, my spirit prays, but my understanding is unfruitful.
What is your understanding?
Unfruitful.
See, so even if you pray in an unknown tongue and you holding it to yourself with no understanding, my spirit, what the message is unfruitful. I can't deliver a message you can't comprehend. That's why we have to make sure, y'all, from the age of accountability up, we make this understood from that age. And the age of accountability is when a boy is able to create a child and a girl reaches her flower. Ain't no number on it, 12 or 13. When they have to come under the laws of Leviticus 15 of washing and cleansing themselves because of fluid coming out of the body, that's the age of accountability. It don't sneak up on you. We just don't know our laws. So when it happens to our children, we find out later. And hope, y'all, to the Most High, we don't find out they got a baby in their belly. Because if it come on them at 10 years old, they can get pregnant. When that flower is broken and they come into womanhood or manhood, ain't no nothing for men. So our fathers won't slip. And sometimes he want to rear up in his chest. Hey, daddy, what's up? You like, hey, put them shoulders back in the closet. Only one king in this house, partner. I talk to me like, hey, dad, what's up? Much better. What's going on? I want to know if I can use the car. See, that voice crack is a sign that they're going into puberty. So we don't get caught off guard. If that voice cracking in his room door is closed with a girl in there, it has to be opened. You can be no father at 14, 13, and 12. Open the door. What y'all doing in here anyway? Studying what? Let's read some more.
Verse 15. What is it then? I will pray with the spirit, and I will pray with the understanding also. I will sing with the spirit, and I will sing with the understanding also.
See, you have, if you don't, with all your getting, get what? See, y'all, we wasting our time if you don't understand what we're talking about. If you understand Christmas and Halloween better than you understand Pentecost, there's a problem with your understanding. You understand the dark side. Let's get some more. Almost done, y'all.
Verse 16. Else when thou shalt bless with the spirit, how shall he that occupieth the room of the unlearned say amen at thy giving of thanks, seeing he understand not what thou sayest? And
all of us done been somewhere. If you got Muslims in your family and you go to an event, I don't want to go, you just go. And then they start praying in that tongue. Walk by, walk by, walk by. You like, what the hell? Walk by.
Walk by.
Walk by, walk by. You sitting up there like that. What is he saying? Somebody.
Walk by what?
Right. Go ahead.
For thou verily givest thanks well, but the other is not edified.
The other is what?
Not edified.
See, you're praying in the tongue, but we ain't getting no edification because I'm like, what is walk by? And that same thing he laughing. Hell, I don't know. That's what he laughing. Go ahead.
I thank my God, I speak with tongues more than ye all.
Right.
Yet in the church, I had rather speak 5 words with my understanding, that by my voice, I might teach others.
That
also.
You might do what?
Teach others also.
Feed my sheep. Go ahead.
Then 10,000 words in an unknown tongue. Brethren, be not children in understanding, howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men.
See, in children be in malice. Why? Because 2 minutes later they playing again. Break them up in the playground. What's going on here? What's that? Ain't no black or white. Ain't none of this. I mean, all race can be there. That's a taught behavior. But you break them up. Well, he slid down before I did it with my turn. Break it up. Break it up. Next thing you know, all you have to hear is ding, 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 ding. Mr. Softy. Anger gone with children. So what he's saying is let anger go away from you real quick. Be like children in malice. And we don't think about killing each other like that. You're supposed to love that brother. If malice on your heart all the time around it, it's going to be a problem with us, y'all. How you going to feast in mad? Anybody ever ate after they've been angry? Even in a relationship, you argue and she put your plate on the table. There you go. I don't know who you messing with. I don't know more. See what I'm talking about is that'll be there in the morning. You can't eat. You have to understand when the Holy Spirit is on you, you can't eat. When an evil spirit is on you, it's the same way, but what it does is it have you thinking detriment and malice. How can I kill this SOB? I'm sick of it. And then in the morning, I wonder if this microwavable after sitting out all night.
That's the first thing that come back.
And then you start Googling how to make bread soft again. If you hadn't been arguing last night, it'd have been a good evening. Hungry as hell now after all that oil. Get some more, bro. We're going to close on that.
Verse 21. In the law it is written.
Where is written at?
In the law it is written. With men of other tongues and other lips will I speak unto this people.
Right.
And yet for all that will they not hear me, says the Lord.
So we have to be careful and talk about what language that dominates. He said, because in all languages I'm going to speak to this people. If you're going out to the world, that's why the gift came on disciples, because they were to go to all nations. Even when the Feast of Purim in Esther's time, when they say we're going to kill all the Hebrews, it went out into every post office in every language of the Jews. Jews only have one language, just saying where they dwell, they take it on another language. Like we Israelites, but we speak English language. The language don't make the people. The Spirit makes the people. Because I speak pure English don't mean I'm not telling you the laws correctly. You know why? Because we have an English concordance to break down Hebrew words. Is it a Hebrew concordance that break down English words? See, we have to understand it's still giving reverence to it. But the fact remains, when you get the concordance, it's written and explained in English about your Hebrew words. So many languages, none without signification. Did I say that right? What about that there? Signification. None without that. So there's no excuse for us to say anything about we couldn't get it where we were captive. The Most High had already looked down the line. He said it's foreknowledge. It's already been set up for you to go in captivity. You don't think the Messiah and them, the man that built a house ain't count the cost? Well, if we put them in slavery and we make the men the head, then Father, all they have to do is kill all the men and have sex with all the women. Then the nation of Israel is gone. No, son. We already done put it in the seed, both male and female, so that it can't be miscegenated out. It can't miscegenate out. That would be easy work. We wouldn't be sitting here talking if it, talking about it just goes through the man. That's easy work. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Wherefore, tongues are for a sign.
For what?
A sign.
See, that's a miracle. Right? Signs, wonders, and miracles. Go ahead.
Not to them that believe, but to them that believe not. By prophesying serveth not for them that believe not, but for them which believe.
Right.
If therefore the whole church be come together in one place, and all speak with tongues, and there come in those that are unlearned or unbelievers, will they not say that ye are mad? So how the boy down on Vander and Sarah was at Lively Stone,
when he saw this script, because everybody in the church is speaking a different language, running around the church, hooping and hollering, and they control the spirit through the band or the choir. If you're getting a little yawn or see too much of this, man, hurry get through, man, the game gonna be on. The choir know what that means. Get the jumping music going. We losing them. And they play that jam, and there it goes. Go ahead, what you got, bro?
Check out Farrakhan does money way.
He does a what?
He does a money way.
Yeah, I got took by that at the Kiel Auditorium when I was first started.
We did the same one. You did money
Right.
way.
Y'all, what he talking about is when Farrakhan came to town, he's on tour with Al Sharpton. You got this doctrine and you got this doctrine, and they're on the same tour. And guess who opened up for the philosopher? The one who's supposed to have the light. Right. Opens up for the philosopher. The same thing Benham E. Carter did on the first Million Man March. He opened up for Farrakhan. Now, how is who's supposed to be the Messiah and the King of the world and then went back over to Israel introducing a philosopher? I give to you His Excellency, the Honorable, and he come out. What's wrong with this picture? You done took a bunch of people back to Jerusalem and you introducing a philosopher? You on here as a special guest to the Million Man March? You the king of the world and you on the list? Next up, the Messiah of Israel. Next up. Go ahead, bro. Some of this stuff is beyond ridiculous. We just want to believe a lie. Go ahead, bro. You gotta push it. It's man-made doctrine. You're at this point, everything done wore off. He done had all the women. He done lived in all the mansions. He done had all the money. Now he's just looking for the next thing that excites his flesh. It's like everything else that when it run out, but when the spirit on you, it don't never run out because you have to keep feeding the sheep with it. Keep feeding it to be satisfied. You can't keep it unless you give it away.
That's right.
It ain't gonna stay with you unless you practice giving it away. And the process hides a multitude of sins. He that turn a sinner from the error of his ways, do what? And guess what? It's talking about both of y'all. Because if I tell you not to commit adultery, I can't do it. And if I stop at that point after telling you, then that's two souls saved. Hides a multitude. Not just that individual. See, I broke you off, dog. You still had a multitude on you. No, it's talking about both of y'all. Both of y'all have testified as two witnesses that that's sin, what we just said. So both of us can't get caught doing it. It wipes that sin off of your book. And that's a multitude that could have been coming. Let's get some more.
Verse 24.
What it say?
But if all prophesy, and there come in one that believe not, or one unlearned, he is convinced of all. He is judged of all.
You see how prophecy reign over speaking in tongues? Except he edify. It's reigning supreme. But if one prophesy, and we in the books of tongues. Let's read some more.
And thus are the secrets of his heart made manifest. And so falling down on his face, he will worship Yahweh.
That's right.
And report that Yahweh is in you of the truth. How is it then, brethren, when ye come together, every one of you hath a song,
right?
Hath a doctrine,
right?
Hath a tongue, hath a revelation, hath an interpretation. Let all things be done unto edifying. If any man speak in an unknown tongue, let it be by two, or at most by three, and that by course, and let one interpret.
So If any man speak in tongues too, it's got to be an interpreter there. Or he has to keep silent according to the rules. If any man. So not only if you keep saying women have to be silent in church, men have to be silent in church on certain things. You can't just babble off. Don't nobody know what you're saying. Let's read some more. Stop at 32.
But if there be no interpreter, let him keep silence.
Let him do what?
Keep silence in the church, and let him speak to himself and to Yahweh. Let the prophet speak 2 or 3, and let the other judge. If anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace. For ye may all prophesy one by one, that all may learn.
That all may what?
That all may learn. And all may be comforted.
See, this is about comfort. See, when you feed the sheep, it's comfort. Don't food comfort you?
Yep.
It comforts you. Think how crazy it is. They give you a last meal. But they sending you to your death. What you want? I want a whole order of plain rice, and I'm gonna eat it one kernel at a time. We're gonna delay this one. They're like, come on, sir. Where we at?
Verse 32. And the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophet.
Right.
For Yahweh is not the author of confusion.
He's not the author of Babel. Genesis 11 we talked about. He's not the author of confusion. Go ahead.
But of peace.
But of what?
But of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
And all churches of the saints. If we ain't got peace among us, it's a problem, y'all. How you gonna show the light peace? Where you get that black eye at? Nigga in the church. But I want to tell you about God. Hey, yo. Ain't no need us believing lies. If we can't stay together a week in 1,000 years is so far away from us, it's ridiculous. It ain't gonna be nobody in the kingdom you can't stand. How you get in the kingdom? You ain't gonna have say so over who gets in the kingdom. That's right. Yeah, we're gonna close out with that. We got a couple things we need to talk about. Anybody got any questions or concerns? Anything that we talked about today? So we talk about this feast day. Good. Nothing. Name we got it there. See if you got it there. Go and do it. Okay. Y'all, tomorrow feast day, Larimore Park. If you don't have the instructions of where it's located, talk to Sister Naomi. She'll make sure she sends you the text information so you can GPS it. For all y'all familiar with the St. Louis area, North County, if you're going north on Bell Fountain, soon as you cross 270, Larimore is the next street past the Snooks. You make a right turn. It's before the Snooks. It's AutoZone. Turn it to AutoZone.
It's not AutoZone, it's advanced auto. Well, we just do everything.
All right. Well, look, it's a store there that you can work on your car, buy parts from. Look for the car parts store. Make a right turn and go down as soon as you cross the railroad tracks about a few more feet or so. The park is on your right.
Real is the street on the left, R-E-A-L-E. It'd be Larimore and Real. But if you're driving up to Larimore towards the park, you ain't got to worry about looking for Real. You'll see a yellow bar that's the gate to the park that sticks out.
Well, you're going to see the big county sign. Y'all can't miss it. You can't miss it. Larimore Park, right there in your face. If you're going south on Bell Fountain, you turn at the car parts store right there to your left. and come on down to the park, y'all. We're trying to get all hands on deck. Those of you who are able to make it. Look, and what we're talking about is you're prepped and ready to stay out there from that time. I understand if you want to leave and go back home. But y'all, it's a major feast. It's an assembly only feast, y'all, because it has to be about the assembly. It's only 125, 150 people seated according to the contract we signed. So we can't overrun it. This is only one. It's not like the Passover. We extend this to our extended family, but we only have so many slots that we are allowed to fill, y'all, before we get overrun. We can cause nothing to cause a problem for this feast day, y'all. This is a holy feast day. We have to be like children in malice about this feast day. Got to play it in tomorrow. So y'all, if that's the location, if you need to get with sister, she'll make sure she sends it to you. 10 o'clock, if we can get some hands on decks to get everything loaded up.
Be there at 10.
Not y'all family, y'all come on out later. Y'all working now. Okay, so.
Be there at 10 or 9:30.
10 is good. 10 is good. 10 is good, y'all. 10 is good. Y'all, I'll be right there with, Y'all said 9:30. Okay, well, look.
I was just saying, you're gonna say 9:30 and still be late.
Right. Well, you know that's not why 9:30 was said. Right. That's so you can be there at 10.
We was a lot for black folks.
Let me say this, right, y'all. So we're gonna have all the equipment out, everything we need. We gotta ensure y'all it's going to be a hot day tomorrow. Yeah. Some of us bring tents, for the shorties to chill out in. It's gonna be an extremely hot day. Walmart said this little thing is like an air conditioner. You just put a little ice in it and it works just like a portable heater. But it's air conditioned style. If them shorties get a little hot and restless, go and put that, get you one, I think about $10 or something, whatever. But we're gonna have plenty enough ice out there for that if you have to have that. But it's going to be hot. Wear your appropriate clothing.
There's plenty of shade out there.
Huh?
There's plenty of shade out there.
Shade ain't got nothing to do with it. 93 at 12 noon. Good shade, thank you, brother. That'll keep us from turning different colors. But y'all, we want to make sure you have enough water. We're going to have hot water, but always, y'all, these feast days, let me say this, these feast days are designed for you to knock the edge off at home. Don't bring them babies out there, ain't ate no cereal, at least some cereal. Because everything will be starting to get eaten while we're cooking. Knock the edge off of them, and then we're going to have the other edge knocker right there, some hot dogs for them, and some chips until the feast starts. We'll go over the feast briefly because we've already done it here. We'll point you to the thing, but we have to acknowledge everybody in one voice while we're here, get our prayer on, and we will feast. And y'all, we'll assemble amongst each other. We'll have a good time, y'all, and then we'll have to clean up and leave the place like we found it. We're going to say between 12 and 1 p.m. is start time. That gives us 6 hours. It's a nice park.
Right.
You got to watch out for a few things, though. But it's a nice park. You got skate ramp, basketball court, tennis, volleyball, whatever you want for the short legs, and let them exercise, let them run, do whatever they're going to do. But it has a lot of amenities there, y'all, that we can take advantage of. And the shelter, nice shelter with grills or whatever. We're going to get the feast on, y'all, and we're going to eat like we used to. Ain't nobody got to worry about passing out nothing or giving no gifts or nothing. The gift is the food.
That's right.
And and the drink, and we enjoy one another. Every time we broke bread with one another, we hospitality, you break food and you eat. Eat make you smile. Children dance when it's time to eat. My wife have me dancing sometimes. I'm like, is that a number 6 you finna fit? Oh, yeah. We're going to have a good time. Anybody got any questions before we close out?
I got some t-shirts. I got some t-shirts for the suite. And men's or adults for $30. They come with fringes now. And the fringes are the way they're supposed to be in the book. Old gang, you had the shirt on last week. That's fact.
Right, so get with them, y'all. We ain't gonna transact out there. We're gonna transact with you at a different location.